I ditched fertilizer forever. This natural trick tripled my harvest. For decades I believed the same thing most gardeners do, that a bag of fertilizer held the secret to lush leaves, bountiful harvests, and thriving soil. I spent countless seasons carefully measuring, mixing, and spreading NPK blends, following the labels to the letter. And yet, no matter how much fertilizer I added, something always felt off. My tomatoes weren't as juicy, my peppers were smaller than I hoped, and even my soil seemed lifeless beneath my hands. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. I've been gardening for over 40 years here in the States, and I've seen countless gardeners fall into this cycle. We rely on fertilizers to push growth, but the results are temporary, and the soil never truly recovers. That's when I decided to try something different. I stopped reaching for fertilizers and instead focused on what my soil was really craving: minerals and life. The results were nothing short of transformative, and today, I want to share exactly what I discovered with you. Most people look at soil and see dirt. For gardeners like us, it's an entire ecosystem, bustling with life. Beneath the surface are billions of microorganisms, tiny engineers that create nutrients, build structure, and protect roots. Every handful of healthy soil is alive, breathing, and working quietly to feed your plants. When we rely solely on chemical fertilizers, we overlook this complexity. Fertilizers supply a quick hit of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, but they don't rebuild the living ecosystem beneath the surface. Think of your soil as a house. Fertilizer decorates the exterior, creating a quick burst of color and growth, but the foundation, the minerals, microbes, and structure, is what determines long-term success. When I finally shifted my focus to rebuilding that foundation, the transformation was, honestly, just remarkable. My soil began to breathe again, earthworms returned, and plants grew stronger with richer color, deeper flavor, and far more resilience than I'd seen in years. The first game changer in my soil journey was biochar, sometimes called black gold. Now it's not the same as the charcoal you toss on your grill. Biochar is a carefully produced form of charcoal that captures carbon, nutrients, and microbial habitat within millions of microscopic pores. It's been used for thousands of years, famously by indigenous farmers in the Amazon to create the fertile terra preta soils that remain productive even today. When I added biochar to my garden, I noticed almost immediately that water retention improved, dry patches disappeared, and nutrient uptake became more efficient. Biochar works by holding water, minerals, and microbes close to plant roots, releasing them slowly over time. Unlike fertilizers that leach away, biochar stays in the soil for decades, continuously supporting life. For gardeners, this means less watering, fewer nutrient losses, and a garden that starts taking care of itself. Mixing biochar with compost before adding it to your beds charges it with life, making it a permanent, low-maintenance solution for healthy soil. If you've ever wrestled with heavy clay, you know the frustration of soil that's either like concrete when dry or a sticky, suffocating mess when wet. Years ago I struggled with red clay in my Midwest garden. No amount of compost or fertilizer seemed to help. That's when I discovered gypsum, or calcium sulfate. Gypsum works its magic by gently separating tightly packed clay particles, improving aeration and water movement without changing the soil's pH. Within weeks of applying it, I noticed earthworms returning and soil crumbling easily in my hands. Suddenly, roots could reach deeper water, drained better, and my plants responded with stronger growth. Gypsum taught me that sometimes, improving soil isn't about feeding plants more. It's about freeing their roots so they can access the nutrition already present. While structure is vital, soil also needs minerals, the building blocks that make plants strong and flavorful. I turned to two natural sources, green sand and azomite. Green sand comes from ancient ocean beds and is rich in iron, potassium, magnesium, and trace elements. It releases nutrients slowly, nourishing plants for years. I watch my spinach leaves turn darker, my flowers bloom longer, and even my tomatoes gain a richer, old-fashioned flavor. Azomite, on the other hand, is a volcanic ash packed with over 70 trace minerals. It replenishes what modern agriculture has stripped from the soil. After introducing Azomite, my fruit trees flourished, and even struggling crops began producing bigger, juicier, and more fragrant fruits. Together, these two minerals created a steady, long-term supply of nutrients that my plants could access naturally. No soil restoration plan is complete without worms. I started using worm castings, which are far more than ordinary compost. They're alive, packed with beneficial microbes that continue to feed and protect the soil. Castings break down organic matter, release nutrients in plant-accessible forms, and even produce natural growth hormones. I noticed immediate changes. Compacted soil softened, lettuce grew thicker, basil turned a deeper green, and my usually stubborn peppers began flowering prolifically. Worm castings aren't just a supplement, they're the heartbeat of living soil. Basalt rock dust is finely ground volcanic rock slowly releasing minerals like calcium, magnesium, and trace elements over time. It's a long-term investment in soil health, improving plant strength, flavor, and resilience. Mixing it with compost or worm castings helps unlock these minerals faster, feeding both soil microbes and plants. Kelp meal adds another layer of vitality. Harvested from seaweed, it provides trace minerals and natural plant hormones that stimulate root growth, strengthen cell walls, and improve stress tolerance. After incorporating kelp into my garden, I observed plants with deeper roots, greener foliage, and a natural resistance to drought and heat stress. Even simple minerals can make a huge difference. Epsom salt, or magnesium sulfate, supports chlorophyll production and photosynthesis. I've seen entire gardens perk up after just one treatment, with stronger stems, greener leaves, and better flowering. Magnesium is especially helpful for tomatoes, peppers, and flowering plants, improving both growth and fruit flavor. You know, the real power of these amendments isn't any single ingredient, it's how they work together. Biochar provides structure, gypsum frees roots, green sand and azomite supply essential minerals, basalt dust rebuilds long-term balance, kelp energizes the system, Epsom salt fine-tunes chemistry, and worm castings breathe life into it all. When used together, your soil transforms into a living, self-sustaining ecosystem, water retention improves, nutrient recycling happens naturally, and your plants become more resilient to pests, drought, and disease. In my own garden, this synergy turned compacted clay into deep, dark, crumbly soil, teeming with life. You don't need to overhaul your entire garden at once. Start with a soil test to understand what's missing, then introduce one or two amendments at a time. For heavy clay, gypsum is a priority. For lifeless soil, biochar and worm castings are a perfect starting point. Minerals like green sand, azomite, and basalt dust can follow, with kelp and Epsom salt fine-tuning the system. Soil building is a journey, not a race. Layer these amendments gradually, season by season, and, just watch your garden evolve in ways no bag of fertilizer ever could. Over time, your soil will start to maintain itself, water efficiently, and support vibrant, flavorful plants year after year. If there's one lesson I've learned, it's this: your soil never forgets. Every handful of earth holds memory, nutrients, and life. Feed it well with minerals, biology, and structure, and it will reward you beyond anything fertilizers can provide. By partnering with your soil, instead of relying on chemicals, you're not just growing a garden, you're creating a legacy of living soil that will continue giving for decades. The best part? It's never too late to start. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced gardener, introducing these natural amendments can honestly transform your soil, your plants, and your entire gardening experience. So, if you enjoyed this guide, don't forget to subscribe to Soilsage Chronicles, share it with a fellow gardener, and join our journey to rediscover the soil's hidden power. Your garden, and the earth beneath your feet, will thank you.